It's the end of an era at the University of South Dakota as Coyote Hoops bids farewell to the place it's called home for nearly 4 decades. How's everybody doing? I'm Jay Elson, and this is Coyote Corner. Since the doors first opened in 1979, the South Dakota basketball programs have won a combined 73% of the games played inside the Dakota Dome. Few have enjoyed that dome court advantage more than Amy Williams, who led the Yote women to wins in 25 of their last 26 home games. Thursday, Williams sought her 46th Dakota Dome victory against Western Illinois. South Dakota seeking a 6th straight win over the Leathernecks and an 11th consecutive victory overall. Nicole Seekamp helped get things started, knocks down the jumper in transition. She would lead all scores with 16. But the real story on this night was the Coyotes bench. Jasmine Trimboli off the bounce puts the Yotes up 5. Next possession, Trimboli finds Abigail Fogg for an easy 2. South Dakota led 16-13 after 1. Western looking to get something going to start the second. Sophie Reichelt for 3 of her team-high 14. Buckets, though, few and far between for the Leathernecks, and the Coyotes start to pull away. More good stuff from the bench. Fogg off the screen and roll. She scored 8 on the night. Then it's Trimboli again. Killer crossover leads to another easy lay-in. Jasmine finished with 9. The Coyotes would score 52 points in the paint. There's 2 more from Kate Liveringhouse. The reserves combined for 42 points on 20 of 32 shooting to help the Coyotes blow out Western Illinois 86-50. South Dakota also dominated the glass, out-rebounding the Leathernecks 51-27. The Yotes finished plus 50 on the boards in the 2 meetings against WIU this season.
Having the spark off the bench, I think it really helps, especially when the team starts to get a little fatigued at the beginning, which sometimes happens. But yeah, I think the spark from the bench really helped us.
That's something that we've been kind of consistent with, I guess. Maybe not 42 points, but something that's been big for us and will help us down the stretch.
That brings us to Saturday. Coyotes hosting South Dakota State for the final time inside the Dakota Dome with first place on the line. This was a game of runs. USD shot out to an early 9-3 lead on the strength of 2 Kelly Stewart threes, but State promptly responds with Ellie Thompson. The sophomore scores 9 points at a 15-3 run for the Rabbits that carried into the second quarter. Coyotes trailed by as many as 6, but they find some energy in the form of Abigail Fogg. 44 puts up 6 points in a span of about 2 minutes. That was nice, but the prettiest bucket of the day came courtesy of Seekamp. How about this finish? Behind the back for the lay-in, capping an 18-3 run for USD. Jacks closed the gap before the half, though. Thompson again, 14 first-half points on 5 of 7 shooting. SDSU within 1 by the break. Third quarter, Yotes pull away again. Seekamp and Kate Liveringhouse hooked up a bunch. Liveringhouse with 6 field goals in a little over 3.5 minutes to help South Dakota stretch its lead to 11. Fast forward to the fourth, here come the Jacks. Thompson gets the bump and the bucket. That trims the USD lead to 9. Then it's Thompson again, another and 1. She'd hit the free throw once again and finish with 21. State still not done. Down 4 with 30 seconds to play. Carrie Young buries the 3 to make it 75-74, but that's as close as they would get. The Coyotes managed to close it out at the free throw line and complete their first season sweep of South Dakota State since the 1989-1990 season. 80-75 is the final. Seekamp led the way with 21 points and 10 assists. She was also 10 of 12 at the free throw line. She's since been named the Summit League's Player of the Week for the 4th time this season.
We were just kind of going at it like any other game, and we came out on top, and that's exactly what we wanted. And now we're just going to learn from what our mistakes were in that game, and then we'll focus on the next one. It's just another game. I mean, credit to them. The atmosphere was great. They played great, and it brought it down to the final seconds. And I thought we handled the pressure well and came out with the win.
With that win, USD gained sole possession of first place in the Summit League with 2 games to play, and they are now guaranteed a top 2 seed for the conference tournament. They can clinch that number 1 spot with a win Thursday at Fort Wayne or an SDSU loss at IUPUI. The sweep of State may have South Dakota in the driver's seat, but Amy Williams has already reminded her team that they haven't won anything yet. We'll discuss the mindset heading into the final weekend of the regular season when we come back.
Coyote Corner on Midcoast Sports Network is presented by Dakota Land Honda.
And welcome back to Kyle Corner. Jay Elson joined now by head women's coach Amy Williams. And Amy, a lot of the focus, let's be honest, coming into last week, at least outside the program anyway, was on Saturday and South Dakota State. But we hear it from you all the time. It's all about the next team on your schedule. And at the time, that was Western Illinois, and there's no such thing as an automatic win when you're dealing with a team that shoots the three as well as they do.
Absolutely, and that's, I heard a lot of people outside the program talking about this big game on Saturday, and to be honest with you, we kind of protected ourselves from that, and the team just did a really good job. It was almost a little shocking to us when we would hear people talk about that, because we knew Western is a very formidable opponent, and they played us very well inside the dome the last few years, and one of the last conference teams to beat us in the dome. And so we were not going to take that game lightly. We knew they have some very prolific shooting capabilities, and we were going to have to be great.
Well, as it turned out, WIU's shooters never got comfortable in this one. They really struggled, in fact, to get the ball in the basket at all night long. How much credit for that goes to your defense and just how close you played them?
Well, I think that defensively we did some good things. We made some good adjustments from the first time that we played them, but I think also that we just kind of got them out of a little bit of a rhythm early, and they just never were able to really kind of get comfortable and find that rhythm.
On the other end, great balance for you yet again offensively. 42 points off your bench. They provided a real spark for you, particularly in the second quarter. Really got you going.
Yeah, I mean, we thought that was that's been a critical in the past couple of weeks, and this week as well, just having great production off of our bench.
Now you beat Western. State beats Denver on Thursday, which meant Saturday, which everybody was looking forward to, was going to mean everything we all hoped it would mean, and the winner getting the inside track for the top seed in the Summit League tournament. And you throw in the fact that it was the last meeting between you two inside the Dakota Dome. This could not have gotten a whole lot bigger. So did you, at any point leading up to it, allow yourselves to enjoy this one for just what it was?
Yeah, to be honest with you, there was so much emotional stuff outside of it. Senior day and our alumni back and the last game in the Dome and a rivalry game and all those other things that were kind of riding on this game. So we just kind of tried to put all of that stuff aside and be able to focus on, make sure you go out and really enjoy the experience and enjoy the atmosphere and being able to play some of our girls, for 5 of them, their last game in the Dome. And most importantly, just do what we've been doing to get to this point and focus on each possession and what needs to be done to find a way to be successful.
Well, we talked about how big your bench was on Thursday. Same story in this one. 2 players in particular. In the second quarter, it was Abigail Fogg. In the third quarter, Kate Liveringhouse. Both gave you a big jump start at important times.
Right. I mean, we've been having great production off of our bench. Abigail and Kate both kind of had a little stretch there where they went on a little run individually with a little help of some great passes from their guards and Nicole in particular. But, I think Jasmine Trimboli's been coming off the bench and just giving us great production, just huge baskets when we need it. I thought, Caitlin Duffy hit a 3 right when we really kind of needed it. I mean, everybody just seemed to step up and make plays right when we needed it.
Now, things were looking pretty good. You're up 11, about 2.5 minutes to play. But as it turned out, the game was far from over. SDSU came storming back, made things awfully interesting down the stretch. Why were they able to do it? How were they able to do it?
Well, they're a great basketball team. I mean, this is a very good team, and tons of credit. I thought that we knew they were going to scratch and claw and fight for 40 minutes to the final buzzer. They're extremely competitive, just like us, and so we knew it wasn't going to end quickly, and I thought they executed very well down the stretch. They did the things that they needed to do and were prepared for that type of situation and just handled themselves exactly the way they needed to claw back into that game, and I'm just proud that we were able to close it out.
So with 2 games to play, you've got sole possession of first place in the Summit League, guaranteed a top 2 seed for the tournament at this point. With all that in mind, though, what's your message to the team as you prepare to close out the regular season this week?
Our message is let's find a way to get better at Fort Wayne on Thursday, and what can we improve upon and continue to stay focused on trying to raise the bar and continue to grow and be playing our best basketball when we head up to the Summit League tournament.
All right, well, good luck to you. Fort Wayne Thursday, IUPUI after that to close out the regular season. Big weekend for the Coyotes.
Thanks, Jay.
Thanks, Amy. Well, the USD men had a chance to secure their spot in Sioux Falls on Sunday afternoon. We'll recap their matchup with Denver after this.
Coyote Corner on Midcoast Sports Network is presented by Dakota Land Honda.
After weeks of uncertainty, the South Dakota men had a chance to end some suspense on Sunday. With Western Illinois' loss to SDSU the day before, the Coyotes were in position to clinch their spot in the upcoming Summit League tournament with a win over Denver in the final game at the Dakota Dome. South Dakota also hoping to avenge an earlier 14-point loss to the Pioneers. Things got off to a strong start, and it started with ball movement. Trey Norris finds Eric Robertson for the lay-in, and it's DJ Davis. That went off a feed from Casey Kasperbauer. Coyotes recorded assists on 3 of their first 4 baskets. Things started to get a little sloppy from there, though. Joe Rosga with the steal. He'll take it coast to coast for the layup. Denver scored 15 points off USD's 9 first-half turnovers. Pioneers up 4 with time winding down in the half. It's Rosga again, this time for 3. Denver led 31-24 at the break. Coyotes come out strong to start the second. Davis for 3. He tied for the team high with 14 points. Next time down, Casey Kasperbauer drills the first of 2 on the day. Coyotes eventually cut the deficit to 2. But just as they did in the first meeting, Denver answers the South Dakota run with one of their own. C.J. Bobbitt and Marcus Bird helped the Pioneers score 15 of the next 17 points to extend the lead to 15. The Coyotes would make it interesting down the stretch. Got as close as 4, but it was too little too late. Denver holds on to complete their first Summit League sweep of South Dakota, 76-71. The Coyotes actually shot the ball really well, 56% for the day. They hit 5 more field goals than the Pioneers and just 1 less 3. But Denver scores 30 points off 16 USD turnovers and outscores the Yotes 15-1 at the free throw line. As we get set for the final weekend of the regular season, here's a look at the current Summit League standings. There's 1 spot left in Sioux Falls. The Coyotes can claim it with a win Thursday at IUPUI or a Western Illinois loss against Fort Wayne. If South Dakota were to lose on Thursday and the Leathernecks get the win, the 8th and final spot would go to the winner of Saturday's head-to-head matchup in Macomb. Well, Sunday marked a disappointing end to what was an extremely successful era at the Dakota Dome, but the good news is South Dakota still has a good shot at securing a spot in Sioux Falls. We'll cover that and more with Coyotes head coach Craig Smith next.
Coyote Corner on Midcoast Sports Network is presented by Dakota Land Honda.
And welcome back to Coyote Corner. Jay Elson once again, joined now by head coach of the USD men, Craig Smith. And Craig, just one Summit League game on the schedule for you last week, and it just so happened to be the final game inside the Dakota Dome, not to mention senior day on top of all that. So before we get into what happened, what did that day, the event, mean to you and your team?
Well, it's a huge day every year, certainly senior day. It kind of hits you when, they announce the seniors with their parents or whomever's accompanying them and you're giving them the picture. And it's kind of a finalizing moment in reflection on their career and what they've done for the University of South Dakota and the joy it's been to coach those guys. And then certainly an end of an era with the last game in the Dome. Boy, what a great tradition, a rich tradition, phenomenal teams that have played in the Dome over those 37 years and incredible players. And so it was a great day for USD athletics. We just wish we could have went out with a bang.
Well, in addition to all that, this was a win and you're in scenario. And with the way that things went early, it looked like it might be your day. What specifically did you like about the way your team started the game?
Well, the first 5 minutes I thought we really defended excellent, and it starts on the defensive ends. We were rarely sound. We didn't make many errors at all, and we're really keeping them in check. I think we had a couple shot clock violations there as well in the first 5 minutes. And then on the offensive end, we were really moving the ball, sharing the ball. It was kind of all-encompassing that way, but we were truly playing as a team. And then things changed for whatever reason with some different lineups. We weren't doing anything really differently in terms of what we were running on the offensive end, but I thought we got really sticky with the ball. I thought we started playing a lot of one-on-one basketball, and which led to a lot of turnovers. We had 9 turnovers in the first half. I think they scored 16 points directly off of our offense in the first half.
Now, you're down 7 at the break. The second half, to me, felt like almost a carbon copy of what you saw play out in Denver a couple of weeks ago. You guys made a run, cut it to 2 early on in the second half. They answered, though, with a 15-2 run, just as they did in Denver. And once again, turnovers played a big role in that.
We came out of the gate strong, went on a good scoring run. They cut it to 2, missed a wide open 3, I think, to go ahead. And then they answered the bell, going on a big run of their own. And you got to play with so much discipline against Denver on both ends of the floor. You got to take excellent shots, and you can't turn it over. And but at the end of the day, defensively is where we had so many breakdowns. I mean, they shoot 61% in the second half. Part of that was our offense, but just not getting the help side defense the way we need to. Missed a couple fronts where guys get deep and angled catches for easy buckets, and a couple direct line drives. And then when you make a mistake on the perimeter, they make you pay. They're an excellent 3-point shooting team, and they go 9 for 15 from the 3.
The good news is you could still clinch a spot in the Summit League tournament with 1 win in your final 2 games this week, or a Western Illinois loss. Now, you will face the Leathernecks in Macomb Saturday in the regular season finale, but I'm guessing you're not worried about that one right now. For you, it's really all about Thursday night, and what do you have to do to handle your end of this whole thing at IUPUI?
Yeah, I mean, IUPUI is in the top half of the league right now, and they're a big, rugged, physical team. They got a couple guys that can really make some plays off the bounce, and they're really good defensively. So we're going to have a big-time Gator mentality. We have to do a great job on the boards. We'll play our big lineup against these guys. But it's kind of they play a grinder style of play, and we're going to have to be tough from start to finish. And then, of course, going on the road to Western Illinois, and we're 2 games out of last, we're 2 games out of 7th now. So we just got to go in this weekend with a road warrior mentality and play our style of play, and find a way to get better in these next couple games, and hopefully gain some momentum and make the postseason tournament and find a way to have success in Sioux Falls.
All right, well, good luck to you. Safe travels to you this week, and we'll see you back next week.
Thanks, Jay.
All right, thanks, Craig. Well, one guy that figures to play a significant role this weekend and beyond for Coach Smith and the Coyotes is Tyler Flack. We'll take a closer look at the reemergence of the South Dakota big man right after this.
Coyote Corner on Midcoast Sports Network is presented by Dakota Land Honda.
Well, South Dakota big man Tyler Flack knows firsthand the feeling of frustration brought on by injury. A bad back and a damaged knee may have slowed down the Coyote Jr. for a while, but to his credit, you'd never know it by watching him now. For the details on how Flack's bounced back, here's Alex Heiner.
If you've followed Coyote basketball in recent years, you already know the story of Tyler Flack, the athletic 6'7" forward from Lakeville, Minnesota, who became a highlight reel staple in his first 2 seasons at USD.
He's got Big Ten athleticism, if not greater.
Only to see his career halted by injury. After a nagging back problem forced Flack to redshirt last season, a torn meniscus this past summer put his basketball future on hold yet again.
That was kind of frustrating after going through another injury and doing the rehab all over again. And
after missing the majority of the non-conference season, Flack worked his way back on the floor by late December. His return to game action, though, didn't have the immediate impact both he and the coaching staff had hoped for.
We probably brought him back a little early. Like, he was cleared to play 2 days before we played at UNLV, and we just threw him in there and he kind of struggled. And that wasn't necessarily Tyler's fault.
the first game I came back against UNLV, I was still not there, like, physically, I think, and maybe probably mentally too, just maybe not as comfortable on the floor as I am now.
After a few weeks of struggling to find his form, and not to mention playing time, Flack sought out his head coach with one question on his mind.
Coach, what do I got to do to get out there and really show what I can do? And I'm just, you got to play better. You got to play more consistent. You got to demonstrate it in practice.
I just realized, like, after our conversation about, like, my playing time has been inconsistent, but also my play in practice has been a little inconsistent. Like, some days I would play well, and some days I wouldn't be there. And I just started playing as hard as I can every practice and locking into what I need to do. And I think it got better from there.
Better is a good way to put it. Flack's hard work in practice earned him a spot in the Yotes starting lineup midway through conference play, and he's taken advantage, scoring in double figures in 6 of USD's last 7 games and notching a double-double in the win over North Dakota State.
He took it to heart. He really improved and was playing a lot tougher in practice, and now it's showing on the floor. And I think he's only tipping the iceberg of how good he's going to be.
I've been playing as hard as I can, like trying to get as many rebounds as I can and just playing my butt off, really.
That attitude and effort have Flack back where he feels most comfortable, namely above the rim. It's a place he wasn't sure he'd reach again, but he couldn't be more thankful to be there now.
It means a lot, just like after going through all that, and just it's kind of relieving having gone through all that work to like just be able to play again and all the adversity that I had to go through to get to where I am now.
Well, there's no doubt a healthy Tyler Flack has given South Dakota another scoring threat and a much-needed defensive presence down low. And with the Summit League tournament just around the corner, his reemergence could not have come at a better time, Jay.
Yeah, you are right about that. Thanks, Alex. One other note now tonight before we go. South Dakota junior Grayson Herding made history over the weekend. Herding, who we featured here on Coyote Corner just last week, swept both the 1 and the 3-meter diving titles at the Summit League Championships in Indianapolis, becoming the first female diver in league history to sweep both boards in 3 consecutive seasons. Congratulations to Grayson Herding. All right, that is our time for this week. For Alex Heinert, I'm Jay Elson. We'll see you back here next week for another edition of Coyote Corner.